Okay, so we've done the part on error identification in the last class. We'll continue with that in the coming classes. Okay, now we'll just switch to Julius Caesar once more. Remember, we're trying to get a record of the whole text. So we're going to start again from Act 1. Remember, for some of you, I have already done Act 1, right? So, Act 1, Scene 1 of the play is on tape, right? Now, we'll go on to Scene 2, Act 1, Scene 2, okay? So, it's on page 63 of the PDF. So, Julius Caesar, Act 1, Scene 2, okay? So, now, when the curtain rises on this scene, what do you see on the stage? It is the same. The same means the same as the scene which was there in Act 1, Scene 1. That scene was a street of Rome. This is the same scene, a public place. But it's a public place where a lot of people have gathered. So now, enter in procession with music. Caesar, Antony for the course. Calphurnia, Portia, Decius, Cicero, Brutus, Cassius and Casca. A great crowd following. Among them, a soothsayer. Now what's happening here is that Julius Caesar is returning in triumph after the victory over the sons of Pompey. And he's accompanied by his protege. Protege means the one who is taken under his wing to groom. That is his right-hand man, right? So the protege of Julius Caesar is Mark Antony. And Mark Antony is for the course. Course means on that day, in a short while from then, they're going to hold some games, athletic events, right? So Mark Antony is going to run around the stadium, right? Antony for the course. And then behind Caesar, there is Calphurnia. Calphurnia is the wife of Caesar. Portia is the wife of Marcus Brutus, right? Decius is a nobleman. Cicero is one of the great orators of Rome. And then you have Marcus Brutus. Marcus Brutus is beloved of Caesar. Cassius and Casca. So these form the train. Train means the people who follow the emperor, the great general Julius Caesar, right? Cassius and Casca. So these form the train, and behind this train of people, there's a great crowd following, right? So the whole populace of Rome has gathered to welcome Caesar back, right? And among the crowd, there is a soothsayer. Soothsayer, roughly translated, it means priest or an astrologer. The soothsayer had the ability to foretell the future, right? He offered some sacrifices to the gods, and the gods would tell him about the future. So you have a soothsayer. Now, Caesar, in that noise, Caesar says, Calphurnia. So he calls to his wife, Calphurnia. Casca says, peace ho, Caesar speaks. Now when Caesar speaks, the entire populace has to be silent. So Casca calls for peace. There is peace and quiet, silence, right? Peace ho, Caesar speaks. Music ceases. So the music which is played, they're coming to the accompaniment of music. So the music stops. Caesar. Calphurnia says, here my lord. Caesar says, stand you directly in Antonius's way, when he doth run his course. Antonius. Caesar my lord. Caesar says, forget not in your speed, Antonius, to touch Calphurnia, for our elders say, the baron touched in this holy chase, shake off this sterile curse. Now, here you have one of the even the rules of Rome. What is the rule? If there is a runner in the course, in the stadium, on that particular day, right? On that holy day, if there is a runner and there is a barren woman is one who has not given birth. Okay, she's still sterile. See, a woman is not made whole until she gives birth. Giving birth makes a woman complete and whole. It makes her a woman in every sense of the word. The child is the most important requirement for a woman, right? So, California and Caesar, they have not had children. They do not have heirs to take over after they pass away, right? So, if a barren woman, if a woman who is not given birth, is touched in the chase, there is a runner. In this case, it was said that the barren touched in this holy chase shake off their sterile curse. They're sterile, they don't give birth, right? That curse is lifted as soon as a barren woman is touched in the holy chase, right? So all these events, they were made to propitiate, they were made to appease the gods, they were made to satisfy the gods, right? So Caesar tells Mark Antony to not forget to touch California in his speed. He'll be running very fast, right? He'll be running very fast, so he should not forget to touch California. And when that happens, she will be able to give birth. The gods will see to it, right? Now Antony says, I shall remember, says Antony. When Caesar says, do this, it is performed. When Caesar gives a decree, gives a rule, do this, in Kannada you say Agne. Agne madadare, right? Agne is a decree, a rule. When Caesar says, do this, it is performed, right? Caesar, set on and leave no ceremony on. So let's proceed. Set on and leave no ceremony on. Whether it's the playing of music, whether it's the accompaniment of dancers, whatever ceremony, leave no ceremony out. So the music starts to play. Soothsayer says, Caesar, who calls? Casca, bid every noise be still, peace yet again. So let everyone stop talking, let everyone stop making a noise, peace yet again. Music ceases. Caesar says, who is it in the press that calls on me? In the press of people, in the crowd of people who are thronging, who are there. Who is it in the press that calls on me? I hear a tongue shriller than all the music. I hear a voice, a tongue is a voice. I hear a voice shriller, it is more high-pitched than all the music. Cry Caesar, speak. Caesar is turned to hear, right? So, I give you leave to speak. Caesar is turned to hear, right? Now, Soothsayer, he says, beware the Ides of March, right? The Ides of March is the 15th of March, right? So, beware the Ides of March, beware the 15th of March. Caesar, what man is that? Brutus, a soothsayer bids you beware the Ides of March, says Brutus. Caesar, set him before me, let me see his face. Bring him in front of me, I want to see him. Cassius says, fellow, come from the throng, come out from the crowd. Look upon Caesar, look Caesar face to face. See. Caesar, what sayest thou to me now? Speak once again. Right? What do you say to me? Speak once again. Repeat what you say. Soothsayer says, again, beware the Ides of March. Caesar, he is a dreamer. Let us leave him. Pass. So, Caesar is not a great believer in these superstitious statements, right? So, he doesn't believe in things like predictions and things like that. So, he says, he is a dreamer. Let us leave him. Let us is a plural pronoun. but actually he's referring to himself. Let us. So I told you that when great emperors, right, refer to themselves in the plural, Caesar might say our battle. He won't say my battle. He'll say our battle. In this case, he says, let us leave it. He's referring to himself. He is singular, but he is the plural. Right? Let us leave it. Us. Senate exhumed all but Brutus and Cassius. So the procession continues on its way, and Brutus and Cassius are left behind on the stage. Cassius says to Brutus, Marcus Brutus, right? There are two Brutuses. One is Marcus Brutus, the other is Decius Brutus, right? So Cassius asks Marcus Brutus, will you go to see the order of the course? Will you go to see how those games are being held? How those games will be held? Brutus, not I. I pray you, do, says Cassius. I request you to go and attend the games. Brutus says, I am not gamesome. I am not a sportsman. I do lack some part of that quick spirit that is in Antony. There's something in me that is not as quick as Antony's spirit is. Mark Antony is a sportsman. He's a lively person, right? He's a lively, he's lively. But Brutus is more sober, more steady, right? More inclined to, walk rather than to run and jump and throw javelins, right? I do lack some part of that quick spirit that is in Antony. Let me not hinder Cassius your desires. Let me not stop you. Hinder means to stop. Let me not hinder Cassius your desires. You desire, if you wish to go and attend the games, please do. Let me not come over you. I'll leave you. Cassius, Brutus, I do observe you now of late. Recently I've been watching you. I've been looking at you. I have not from your eyes that gentleness and show of love as I was wont to have. Right? Nowadays, you look upon me indifferently. Once upon a time, you were affectionate, you were warm towards me. Now, your eyes do not show that gentleness. You were wont. Want is spelled W-O-N-T. Want is your nature, right? So, as you were wont to have, you bear too stubborn and too strange a hand over your friend that love you. I am a person, I want to be close to you, I want to be affectionate towards you, but you bear too strange a hand. You keep me at a distance. You are indifferent to me nowadays. Brutus says, Cassius, be not deceived. Don't think otherwise. Be not deceived. If I have veiled my look, I turn the trouble of my countenance merely upon myself. So the countenance is what we see of a person's face. This is the countenance. So when a person is troubled, his expression, right, look somewhat distant, somewhat aloof, as though he's turning things over in his mind about some problem. So Brutus says, if I have veiled my look, if I have masked my look, I turn the trouble of my countenance merely upon myself. See, I am worried about something, right? Something is on my mind. That is what is troubling me. I don't really want to distance you, Cassius. I don't want to keep you. I don't want to be aloof from you. But something is on my mind, right? Vexed I am, so I am sorrowful, I am troubled. Vexed I am, laden with passions of some difference. There are some problems that I am facing. Conceptions only proper to myself. These conceptions, these ideas are proper only to me, right? Which gives some soil perhaps to my behavior. So something has come into my affairs, something's happened to my affairs, and these are, they give soil to the vexed looks that I am showing you, right? So my worried looks have a basis, that's what he's saying. But let not therefore my good friends prevail. Let not my good friends, let not my close closest people, let not the people who are closest to me, let them not be grieved, let them not be saddened. Among which number, Cassius, be you one? So you are one of my closest acquaintances. Nor construe any further my neglect. Don't think otherwise of my distance, what I am showing you. Don't construe any further. Don't add points to it. What I seem to be neglecting you. Than that poor Brutus with himself at war forgets the show of love to others. So Brutus is troubled within himself. He is at war with himself. He's trying to find a way out of some situation, right? And that situation is difficult. He's at war with himself. So he forgets the show of love to other men, right? So Cassius says, then Brutus, I have much mistook your passion. So Cassius says, then I am misread what you seem to be. By me to wear off this breast of mine and very thoughts of great value, worthy cogitations. So cogitations are thoughts. Now, I have some ideas in my mind and I buried them within myself. I wanted to speak openly with you about them. I wanted to ask your opinion of what is on my mind. I wanted to ask your opinion of my ideas. But seeing your aloofness, I've been forced to bury those ideas within myself. Tell me, good this. Can you see your face? So, can you see your face? Can you see your face means, do you know what you yourself are? Right? So, okay. Do you know what you yourself are? No, Cassius, for the eye sees not itself. So Buddha says, the eye sees everything that goes on in the world, but it cannot see itself. Right? So, whatever I may be, I am not aware. Right? I am not aware of what I am. Right? I see not itself, but by reflection, by some other things. So, we see ourselves by reflection. We see ourselves as others see us. Right? The opinion that others have is a valid opinion. Right? So, it is not always the thing that your own opinion carries weight. The opinion of others also. So they are the reflections of what we are. Right? So, he says, I do not see myself. Okay. I should see myself by reflection. Right? It is just. So Cassius says, it's correct. And it is very much lamented, Brutus, that you have such mirrors and that you have no such mirrors as will turn your human worthiness into your eye. So it is much lamented. It's a cause of much sorrow that you have no mirrors, no such people as will reveal your hidden worthiness to yourself. Nobody knows. Nobody's told you what you are. Okay? That you might see your shadow, so that you might see your shadow, your second self. Your shadow is supposed to be that which, part of it, right? That you might see your shadow, that you might see yourself. I have heard where many of the best respected Rome, many of the most respected people in Rome, except immortal Caesar. Caesar is the greatest. Many of the most greatest people in Rome, except immortal Caesar, speaking of Brutus, and groaning underneath this age's yoke, have wished that noble Brutus had his eye. So many of the most respected people have wished that Brutus had their eyes. Brutus should know what he's capable of, right? So apparently, at that time, in that era in Rome, Rome was groaning under a yoke, right? The age's yoke. In that age of the empire, there was a yoke on the burden of society, right? Yoke is, that wooden thing that you put on bullocks. So apparently, the empire of Rome had a yoke, okay? And Brutus was supposed to be the person who would relieve. Brutus, with all his, innate abilities, would be able to lift the burden from the empire, right? So many of the most respected people have wished that Brutus had their eyes, right? So Brutus says, into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius, that you would have me seek into myself for that which is not good? So Brutus says, See, Cassius, no doubt you're right. But what exactly you're telling me? You're leading me into something that I do not know of, right? You speak of the aegis yoke, you speak of the burden of the empire, right? You speak of the nobility of Rome, you speak of my worth. See, I am what I am, right? I am as myself. So what dangers would you leave me? Why are you praising me like this? Why are you flattering me? Flattery is a way to a person's heart, isn't it? You flatter a person and he'll listen to you. So Cassius is flattering Brutus. So Brutus is aware of the dangers of flattery. And he asks, into what dangers would you lead me, Cassius? That you would have me seek into myself. You are looking into me for that which is not in me. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're about, going on about. Right? Therefore, good Brutus, be prepared to hear. And since you know you cannot see yourself so well as by reflection, I, your class, will modestly discover to yourself that of yourself which you yet know not about. So, Cassius says, Brutus, be prepared to hear. Listen to what I have to say. And since you cannot see yourself, since you do not know your own worth, so well as by reflection, you cannot see yourself except by reflection, except by the words of others. I'll be your glass, I'll be your mirror, and I will modestly discover to yourself, I'll tell you what you are capable of, what you can do. I will modestly discover to yourself that of yourself which you yet know not of. Okay? So what you can do, I'll tell you. And be not jealous of me, gentle Brutus, where I, on common laughter, did used to stay with ordinary oaths my love for every new professor. Don't think, Brutus, that I am going to display my friendship to every new person that comes along. I have weighed you in the scales for a long time. I know what you are and what you are not, and therefore take my words with some seriousness. Think of my words as having some weight. When I describe you to yourself, think that what I say is valid, right? So I do not give my oaths of friendship. I do not give my oaths to every new person that comes along, every new protester. If you know that I do fawn on men and hug them hard and after scandal them, have you ever seen me fawning? Fawning means, professing affection, professing allegiance, professing respect, professing, right? If you, have you ever known me to fawn? Okay, professing affection on other men, and then I hug them hard in front of everybody, and behind their backs I secretly stab them in the back. Have you ever known me to do that? Okay? Or if you know that I profess myself in banqueting to all the world, then hold me dangerous. If you know me as banqueting to all the world, holding parties, giving lively dues in the parties, right? Dinner parties, drinking parties. If you know me to be a banqueter, then hold me dangerous, right? But you never know me. I've never done such things, right? Flourish and shout. So in the distance there is a shout of the people that comes from the stadium where the games are on, right? So Brutus, what means this shouting? I do fear the people choose Caesar for their king. So the shout, the shout is because Caesar is going to be crowned king. So there was news that Caesar was going to be crowned the emperor. He's not yet the emperor. He's not been offered the crown yet. He's only the greatest general that Rome had ever known, right? He's won many victories in many campaigns across Europe, right? And he's returned victorious from one such campaign. So because of his achievements, the populace and even the senators they might choose him the emperor, right? So Brutus says, I do fear the people choose Caesar for their king, Cassius. He latches on to that word. I. Do you fear it? Are you afraid? Why should you be afraid? Right? I do fear it. Then must I think you will not have it. Then must I think and you will not want Caesar to be king. Brutus, I want not Cassius. I don't want Caesar to be emperor. I don't want him to be king. Yet I love him well. Right? So I love him well. But wherefore do you hold me here so long? Why do you keep me back? Why do you make me stay here for such a long time? What is it that you would impart to me? What do you want to tell me? What is it that you want to impart to me? If it be aught toward the general good, if it be toward the general good of the empire, set honor in one eye and death in the other. If there is a person and one eye is composed of honor and to get that honor it requires death. If there is danger in what has to be done, I will look on both indifferently. If it is for the general good, I am prepared to risk my life to see that Rome remains honorable, right? And I look on both honor and death indifferently. For let the gods so speed me as I love the name of honor, then I fear death. So he says, I love the life of honor, not a death with a dishonorable environment, right? I do love the name of honor more than I fear death. I'm willing to risk anything for the sake of honor. Cassius, I know that virtue to be in you, Julius. I know that you are an honorable man, Julius. As well as I do know your outward favor. As well as I do have seen you from outwardly, I know your inner personality. I know how honorable you would like to be. Okay? I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life. I cannot tell what you and other men think of life in Rome at this moment. But for my single self. But as for myself, I had as live not to be as live to be in awe of such a thing as myself. I would not be in awe. Awe is a feeling of the wonder, right? And fear. Wonder and fear mix. I would not be in awe of a person like myself. Who is that person? That person is Caesar. Caesar is a person like myself, right? So Cassius says, I was born as free as Caesar. Caesar and me came from the same status, strata of society. We were born in the same strata of society, right? So were you. You were also born in the same strata of society. We all belong to the upper class, right? We are both fed as well. We both eat the same type of food, and we can both endure the winter's cold as well as heat. When it comes to rough living, when it comes to enduring the winter's cold, both of us can endure the winter's cold as well as season. So all three of us are equally tough, equally well. We have the same background, right? For once upon a raw and gusty day, the troubled tiger, chafing with the shores, Caesar said to me, Darest thou, Cassius, now leap in with me into this angry flood and swim to yonder point. So Cassius, once in the youth of Caesar, what Caesar had done said to Cassius once in the youth, the Tiber, that is the river that flows along the edge of Rome, the Tiber was in flood, right? The waves were very powerful, the current was very powerful. And in such a situation, Caesar said to Cassius, Dare you, Cassius, to dive into this flood and swim to yonder point. It points to a place on the opposite shore, right? You dare to swim through this flood to yonder flood. That is a test of their manliness, right? To risk their lives, right? So, upon the word, when he gave the word, accoutred as I was, in the same dress, accoutred means the clothes you wear. Accoutred as I was, I plunged in. The same clothes I dived in, right? And bade him follow. I bid him follow, right? So indeed he did. He also dived in. The torrent roared, the flood roared, and we did buffet it. and we did swim with all our strength. We did buffet. The water was flowing, they did swim with all their strength against the current. We did buffeting with lusty sinews. Sinews are the muscles. The strong muscles we did. We faced the flood with lusty sinews, throwing it aside. We threw the water aside, right? And stemming it with hearts of controversy. Our hearts were controversial; they were against the blood. We stemmed it with all our might, right? With all our physical might as well as the emotional might, right? But here we could arrive at the point proposed. Before we could arrive at that point on the opposite shore, Caesar cried, "Help me, Cassius, or I sink." So Caesar cried for help from Cassius. I, as Aeneas, our great ancestors, did from the flames of Troy upon his shoulder the old Anchises bear, so from the waves of Tiber did I had seen. So he says, Cassius gives a parallel to his own situation there. In Roman mythology, there was a hero called Aeneas. Aeneas was one of the ancestors, almost the founding fathers of Rome, right? Romulus and Remus were the founders of Rome, and Aeneas came shortly from Romulus and Remus. As Aeneas, their great ancestors, bore his father, Anchises, old Anchises. He bore his old father, and he carried his old father and saved his old father from danger. Similarly, what did Cassius do? He bore Caesar, right? He saved Caesar upon his shoulders from the waves of the Tiber. He saved him from drowning in the Tiber, right? So from the waves of the Tiber did I the tired Caesar. And this man has now become a law. This man was about to drown in front of me. He has now attained the stature of an immortal, right? And this man has now become a god. And Cassius is a wretched creature. And in front of Caesar, Cassius, who once saved his life, is now wretched. And must bend his body. Now Cassius must bend his body, he must stoop low, and Cassius must bend his body. If Caesar were carelessly known, Caesar just does this, Cassius must bend his body. Right? He had a fever when he was in Spain. Now Cassius gives another story. Caesar had a fever when he was in Spain on one of his campaigns. And when the fit was on him, Caesar is given to the falling sickness. Falling sickness is epilepsy, right? So when the fit was on him, I did mark how he did shake. He shook, he was trembling in epilepsy, right? I did mark how he did shake. It is true, this God did shake. It is true, right? This God, this immortal did tremble in epilepsy, right? What sort of an immortal is he, right? His covered lips did from their color fly. His lips lost their color. His face lost its color. And that same eye, who is bent at all the world, the same eye of Caesar now, the eye of Caesar, who anyone he looks on, anything he looks on, is held in awe of this simple look. Caesar just looks on the populace. They're all held in awe. That same eye, once in Spain, how did that eye look? Did lose its luster. The eyes lost their shine. They lost their light. I did hear him groan. He groaned. This God, this present immortal, he did groan. And that tongue of his that bade the Romans mark him and write his speech to the rose. Alas, it cried, give me some drink, Titinius. When he was had epilepsy, that same tongue, same Caesar who now bids Romans rewrite history in his name, rewrite the history of Rome with him as the main protagonist. Now that same tongue did cry in Spain, it cried, give me some drink, Titinius, give me something to drink, Titinius. Titinius is his servant boy. Give me some drink, Titinius, as a sick girl. He was like a sick girl. Ye gods, it doth amaze me, a man of such a feeble temper should get the start of a majestic God. This man of feeble strength should get the start of the majesty, should lead the whole world and bear the palm alone. The palm is the crown of victory, the crown of olive trees. He should bear the crown of olive trees all by himself. This person, flourish, shout. Okay? So we are on line 130 or so we'll stop there. Continue the time. Thank you.